Alright guys, it's Champion here. We're going to look at second installment on the Roaring 20s. We're going to look at new ways of life that developed during this time period. Here is your essential question. I want you to tell me or explain to me, how did new ideas and products lead to the changing values and customs in America during the 1920s? Three things I want you to really focus on. Describe what prohibition is. Kind of give me a background on prohibition, what's taking place. Identify new rights women gained during the 1920s or leading up to the 1920s, and then lastly look at the automobile industry and how pop culture has changed America. So let's look at prohibition. A couple of things you see here are circled, that alcohol abuse is pretty rampant culturally and society. We're blaming a lot of the social ills because of alcoholism and alcohol abuse. So the 18th Amendment is passed, and this time is known at what we know as prohibition. So you cannot sell, you cannot manufacture or make alcoholic beverages. This doesn't stop people from doing it though. You have a lot of smuggling that goes on out of Canada and in the Caribbean as well. You have what's known as bootleggers. Basically, to get away with having alcohol, they would kind of stuff it into their boots. And speakeasies really popped up throughout the cities. This kind of social club, kind of underground network, and so we see organized crime becomes a major part of these speakeasies or this underground movement during Prohibition. So let's review real quick. The 18th Amendment banned alcoholic beverages was known as prohibition. Is this true or is it false? So go ahead and write that down on your notes, and we'll kind of review this in class. Bootleggers and illegal bars called taverns opened in nearly every city in the town. Is this true or false? Alright, again, write your answer down, and let's take a look at new rights that women gain. Alright, the 19th Amendment, key, women's suffrage, again, starting in the early 1900s, really finding its pinnacle with the passage of the 19th Amendment. Women gained the right to vote. One champion behind this cause was Carrie Chapman Catt. Again, if you're trying to remember this particular individual, you have 3 C's here to kind of help you remember. Carrie Chapman Catt helped women gain their right to vote, and she also formed a League of Women Voters, again trying to mobilize women to speak out and to fight for women's issues. 1924, we see the emergence of 2 women governors. We see Natalie Ross, and we also see Miriam Ferguson. Ross being from Wyoming, and Ferguson being from Texas. And so again, women entering into the political field is really starting to come full-fledged here. And again, large numbers of women are voting in places like Texas in particular, where she becomes governor. Shows that the suffrage is definitely having its impact. Puerto Rico, not until 1929, moving to the 30s, did women gain rights there. An important amendment here, the Equal Rights Amendment. Women, even though they had the right to vote, they still had some, or were denied some equalities. Again, if you were married, you were subject to your husband in terms of your financial gains. If you worked outside of the home, he still had control over the finances. So that's just one example of some of the things that Chapman and others were fighting for. Take a look at this video and see how today's women would seek suffrage today. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more in depth of what suffrage looked like and what were the main issues as we move forward. But we're looking at women working now outside of the home, and this is very significant. One of the reasons why this is significant is we see here that the middle class woman is now leaving the home, and so it's not just the poor and working class woman, but you have even the middle class women who are starting to flood the workforce. And so you have new jobs as teachers, secretaries begin to broaden here. One of the reasons why women are able to work outside of the home is because of this idea of consumerism, and you have ready-made items that are created or built in the clothing industry, and so women are no longer sewing as they once did, or creating clothing for their families and their kids, as well as the advent of electronic appliances that allow women to be more efficient as they work at home. And so they're starting to be able to juggle both the workforce and at home. So let's review quickly at some of the questions. The ERA stands for, and mark your answer down on your notes. During the 1920s, middle-class women joined poor and working-class women in the workforce. Is that true or false? Mark your answer. All right, let's wrap up and look at the impact of the automobile industry. Okay, one significant thing is this idea of being more efficient. All right, the assembly line. We had it produced in wartime, and now as we move into the car industry as well as other consumer goods, it allows for cheaper costs. If you look here, the price of a car moved from $850 down to $290, and it allowed the average middle class person to be able to afford a vehicle. General Motors would pass Ford's Model T in terms of being the most popular, and one of the reasons why is this idea of paint. What General Motors did was allow the consumer to pick different colors for their car, where Ford just focused on one color. And so other industries started to emerge as a result of the automobile industry. We have steel, the tire industry, obviously, and gasoline or the oil industry as well. All right, let's take a look at let's look at pop culture. We see new forms of entertainment start to emerge during the 1920s. The first radio station in Pittsburgh, KDKA, it broadcast. It started off with the inauguration or recording or capturing the moment when President Harding was elected. Families gathered around the radio to listen to westerns, comedies, all types of music from classical to jazz. And then most importantly and most popular was that sporting events that were broadcast. Baseball in particular was a great pastime experience in the family. In addition to the radio, movies were major part of the 1920s. You've seen a lot of silent films. One set film is that of Charlie Chaplin, which we'll get a chance to look at in a few moments. But Hollywood was really the main player in terms of the movie industry in the United States and even in the world. And so thousands of families once a week would go out to the movies to enjoy the entertainment. 1927 saw a transition from silent movies to what we call the talkie, and basically this is where dialogue is introduced, and mostly a lot of singing took place, and you have the jazz singer was the first to do so. So let's take a look at a silent movie, Charlie Chaplin.